Hey guys, Lon from the ECOM Zone. In this video, I'm going to go through my complete dropshipping blueprint made for any beginners out there who want to get into dropshipping. And this is a complete step-by-step guide. And by the time you finish this video, you'll know what to do. You'll know what skills you need, how much capital you need, how to create your brand, create your product pages. You'll know how to set up your first campaigns, how to optimize and scale, and all the admin tasks involved with running a dropshipping business. And before I get into my blueprint, you're probably wondering why you should listen to me. Well, if you don't know already, I've been in the dropshipping space for 5 years now, and I've run one dropshipping store, and it was a branded niche dropshipping store. I still run it to this day, and it's my main source of income. I want to quickly hit the refresh button. You can see that I've generated over £4.2 million over the past 4 years, which is close to around $5 million. And you can see down here that our biggest market is United States, followed by United Kingdom, Australia and Germany, and then Canada. The reason why Canada is so low down there was mainly due to their shipping costs after COVID. After COVID, shipping costs to Canada was through the roof, and it never really settled back down to previous levels. And so we kind of lost out on that market there. But luckily shipping to Canada is slightly getting better now. So going over to my blueprint, let's actually go through all the phases briefly so you know what you're gonna get into. So the first thing we're going to go through are capital requirements, skill sets to focus on developing, time required, and if you should set up as a business or self-employment. A lot of people ask me these questions, so I thought we'd go through that first before we move on to the product, which is about picking your niche, picking your products, how to find your niche and products, and all the way down, and saturation, how to spot if your niche or products are saturated, and then trending industries right now. We then move on to creating your brand, because I'm all about creating a branded niche dropshipping store. I know there's a lot of gurus out there who promote this one product store or the general store, but on my channel, I don't really talk about those two types of stores. My main focus is creating branded niche dropshipping stores. And so we're going to create your logo, we're going to decide on your colors, we'll then look at typography, and that's pretty much everything we need to create a brand. Next up, we need to set up your store. So we'll go through apps that you'll use to import the products to your store, and we'll be using AliExpress as your suppliers. We'll then go through videos that you should watch on my channel and how to choose your suppliers on AliExpress, apps to install on your store, payment providers, policy pages. And you can see here that I've actually X'd out Klaviyo on one of the apps to install. And this because they charge me $2,000 a month, which equates to like $24,000 a year. And no app should cost that much. So we'll be leaving Klaviyo and we'll be setting up our automated email flows with Shopify flows. After that, we'll move on to focusing on your product pages. Because guys, this is where most of your customers will land on. And if your product page sucks, they're not going to add to cart. And if they don't add to cart, they're not going to check out. And if they don't check out, they're not going to buy from you. So it's very important that we focus a lot of energy on our product pages. We'll then go to content creation, because this is another important pillar to dropshipping. Because now that you've built your store, you found your products, it's time to market your products. Because how are you going to get customers onto your store if your content is bad? And that's why content creation is another great skill to learn if you want to be successful in dropshipping. So first up is actually planning. We'll then look at finding content so that you can find inspiration for your brand. We'll then study the videos you find, methods of sourcing creatives, and how to edit them. As for marketing, we also need to plan how to market your products, the different types of ads that you can run on Facebook, the Facebook campaign structure, your testing campaign, and what you should look out for when you run your first campaign, how your scaling campaign should look like, and this is just a brief overview on running ads. If you really want to learn how to run ads, I've got plenty of videos on my channel, and there are several channels out there that discuss ads. We'll also customize your columns on the Meta Ads platform because the default columns that they give you are just useless and you really need to customize your columns to look at these metrics. Here are some videos to watch. Next, we're going to discuss how to deal with being banned on Meta because a lot of you guys get banned on Meta and it's a very common thing actually because of scammers out there. Meta's just doing their job and they're just trying to figure out who's a scammer and who's not. We'll also discuss other advertising platforms and why you should and shouldn't use them. And then in our last section, we got admin work. So how to fulfill your orders with DSs, how to prevent fraud with my two-factor authentication trick. It literally takes a minute to set up and it will save you so much money from scammers. Next up, we have customer support and how I use Trello to save common replies to reply to customers, and also how to use ChatGPT to reply to your customers, and then also how to deal with returns and refunds and the videos that relates to that section. We'll then talk about finances, how you should track your profit and loss, your cash flow, expenses, etc. And then 2 helpful resources that you can purchase from a website that will benefit you and your dropshipping journey. And so that's every step you need to set up your dropshipping store and become successful. So let's go through the first part of my blueprint, which is the introduction. And the first up, we got capital requirements. So I always suggest to you guys to start off with a minimum of $1,000 in your account. Now, the reason I say this is because there's a lot of costs involved with dropshipping. And if you hear any gurus or anyone telling you you can start dropshipping with no money, then you should probably ignore their advice because it's almost impossible to start with no money. And I always suggest you have a regular income stream from another job, maybe it's part-time job, full-time job, or other side hustles that you have, just so that you can fund your ads and pay for any cogs. And the reason for this is because even though you make sales, the payment providers will not release the payments to you until after a week. The reason for this is because during COVID, there were a lot of scammers out there who used the dropshipping model to scam customers, and they'll just run ads, but they'll never ship out the products. And so PayPal and Shopify was on the hook because they released the money to the scammers, but the scammers never sent out any products to the customers. And so ever since then, PayPal holds funds for maybe up to 4 weeks, 6 weeks. However, as PayPal starts to trust you more, they'll release funds quicker. And same with Shopify, it takes about a week to reach your account. I also suggest you create a new bank account for this venture. And this doesn't need to be a business account, it can actually be a personal account, whether that's a Chase account, Monzo, Starling, you name it. You just create a new separate account, you put $1,000 in there, and you keep all your business expenses, all your incomes, your sales, your COGS, your Facebook ad costs, advertising costs, you put that all under that card. The reason for this is because when you transition into a company and your accountants look at your account, all the transactions on that should be related to the dropshipping business that's going to become a company. And this just makes life easier for you and your accountant. Otherwise, it's just going to be messy trying to sort through transactions, whether it's personal or business. And this is a big mistake that I made because my accountant was like, what is going on here? Is this personal or is it business expense? And we had to go through every expense. And so that's a very important note. I do have 2 videos here about the real cost of starting a dropshipping business and is it possible to start with $0. Next up, we have skill sets to focus on developing, and the first one being content creation. It is so important, guys, to learn how to create content because if you don't know how to create content, how are you going to advertise your videos? So we're going to dive in deeper into this because it's not just about, oh, let me just film something and that's the content created. Like, there's so much more to content creation, and in each of these skills, I suggest you learn them from non-dropshipping gurus because dropshipping gurus, they're kind of a jack of all trades and they don't really specialize in one thing. I specialize in UX UI design and brand design. That's why I love talking about website building and how to build a professional website. Whereas I don't really specialize in content creation or copywriting. That's why I suggest you learn from other YouTubers, courses. When I say courses, These are like proper courses that maybe cost you $50 and are not sold by a dropshipping guru or any other guru out there. These are legitimate courses out there that you can learn how to create content, how to write good copy, how to become a better UX UI designer. So if you don't know what UX UI design stands for, it stands for user experience and user interface design, which basically helps you build a more accessible and professional website. So when your customers land onto your website on mobile or desktop or on iPad, they have this seamless experience when shopping on your store. And next up, we have customer service, which is a skill that you pick up over time. And basically, you just want to delight your customers because at the end of the day, you want them to be happy with your store and service so that they talk to their friends about your brand. And trust me, word of mouth advertising goes a long way. Next up is accounting. Now, when you're running a business, who's going to manage your finances? It's going to be you. So if you don't know anything about accounting or balance sheets or statement of financial positions or how to track profit and loss or how to track your expenses or budget, forecasting cash flow, etc., you should learn about that. If that scares you, learn about it because you really don't want to start a business if you have no idea on how to track your profit and loss because over time you just don't know if you're in a loss or profit. And then you start taking out credits, loans, and stuff like that, and you really don't want to get into that mess. And also, a tip, never start with a credit card, only use your own money until you're profitable and you're making profits consistently. Then I'll suggest you apply for a credit card. You should also have an analytical mindset because when you're running ads, you really need to analyze what's actually happening with your ads, like where the problem is, how can you solve it, etc. And so I have a video here that I made a year ago, 5 skills that you should focus on to make 7 figures from dropshipping. We'll also talk about time required because I know a lot of you guys are working a full-time job or maybe you're studying in uni or college, and what I suggest is starting with 3 hours a day on your dropshipping store. If you can't allocate 3 hours a day minimum, then you're probably going to struggle with starting your store and it may take longer. And the problem with this is when you start running ads, you really need more time into your dropshipping store. It's kind of like nurturing a baby. A baby will want your attention whenever it wants. It doesn't care if you're sleeping or you're out or you're playing football, or you're playing games or you're watching Netflix. If your baby cries, it needs your attention. And so you drop everything for your baby. It's the same for running a business. If you're running ads that's on 24/7, you really need to be analyzing ads twice a day, seeing where you can optimize your funnel and executing those changes. And it requires time. And it's a 7 days a week job. I hate to break it to you, but dropshipping is not a passive income. You're running a real business and it does take a lot of time out of your day. And you also need to remember that you're competing against your competitors who are also putting in work. So if your competition is putting in more work than you, how are you going to beat them? And this also brings me on to my next point. It also depends on how skilled you are in the first 3 skills that I mentioned, which is content creation, copywriting, and UX UI design. For me, I was very skilled in website building, so it was very easy for me to build a website. And for you, it may be more difficult because you don't have digital design skills. And so you may require more time in these areas. And if you're wondering where do you find this time, well, for me, I was working a full-time job from 9 to 6 p.m. and the commute for me was about 2.5 hours a day. And so that's already like 12 hours of my day out of my life. I then go gym for 2 hours, so 7 to 9 p.m. And then from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., I work on my dropshipping business. And then I sleep at 2, wake up at 7, and then start the cycle again. I would also work on my commutes to work, during my lunch breaks, and just any time I could find a chance to work. Also, weekends, I wasn't really going out or meeting friends and family. I was literally just grinding and working, putting a lot of hours on the weekend because you pretty much got the whole day. So that's the best time to work. So the last part of this section is about starting a business or just as a self-employment. So it really depends on your country you're from. I'm from the UK and you can actually start a business without even setting up as a self-employment or business or company. You could just run your side hustle, and if you don't make money, that's fine. You could just leave it, you could drop it. You don't need to file any taxes or anything like that unless you make £1,000 in your tax year. So a tax year runs from 6th of April to 6th of April. And if you make more than £1,000 in sales, you're gonna have to register as a self-employment or business, and then you're gonna start filing taxes and sorting all that stuff out. So for me, I just ran my dropshipping business without setting up anything until I made £1,000 in sales, and then I registered as a sole trader. So a sole trader is different to a company. You're just a self-employed person who owns or runs their own business. And so that's what I set up as, and is much cheaper than setting up a company, and there's no strings attached. Like if you start a company and then you become unprofitable and you just want to close down this company, there's a lot of costs involved. Also, hiring an accountant for the company costs more than hiring an accountant for being a sole trader. So I was a sole trader for 6 months until I was generating enough profit monthly. I'll say it was around 5-figure mark where I then launched my company, and it's a private limited company in the UK. And with that, you kind of need to understand taxes, how to find your accountant, virtual addresses. You need to understand about bookkeeping, all the tax you have to pay, NIC for employers and employment, PAYE. There's a lot of stuff to learn. And so you're really a CEO at this point. And this is why you treat dropshipping like a real business. So next part of my blueprint, we have the product and picking your niche and how to find your products. So when it comes to picking your niche, you need to find a niche that has consistent or growing interest over the years. Because if it's dying off, then it's not really a great niche to get into. You also need to have a little bit of passion or interest in this niche, because I honestly think that if you have no interest in a niche or something you're starting, maybe it's not even dropshipping, just in general, right? If you're trying to start something where you have no interest in it, you're just not going to enjoy yourself. You're not going to push yourself. You're not going to go out your way to create content or make posts or make blogs. You know, whenever you have an interest in something, it's just like that power of giving more to what you're building. And so there was one time I tried to start a makeup store, and I had no interest in makeups. Like I didn't know which makeup brushes did what. There's like 20 different makeup brushes. I didn't know what they were. Like I didn't know if it was eyeshadow, lips. So I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't care about makeup. And we were struggling to profit. Like we would always break even, but never profit, especially because the beauty industry is very expensive. It was just a struggle. And so after 2 months of running my makeup brand, we just closed it down and we just stuck with my main store. Next up, we have picking a theme or unique angle when it comes to picking your niche. So you could pick a niche like fashion, for example, but you should really decide on a theme around your brand. For example, if you want to start a fashion store around, let's say, female clothing, you should really pick a theme like maybe it's goth, maybe you're into gothic clothes or emo clothes. And what you're trying to do here is you're trying to build a store around a certain demographics or group where they go to your store for this specific type of products. You also need to think about the profit potential behind your niche and the products you're selling, because there's no point in starting a store with cheap products, or maybe you're trying to start a store where you're just selling socks, for example. Like there's not much profit to be made per sale, and so I wouldn't sell those sort of items. You also need to check for competition and figure out who your main competitors are in the dropshipping space, and also like the normal retail space competing in your niche. You then need to define your target audience or your demographics and really understand who you're trying to sell your products to. It's going to help you massively when it comes to writing your copy, building your website, finding your products, and running your ads. And so I have two videos here on how to find your winning niche and avoiding these specific niches. Now, I'll briefly go through it. Basically, you want to avoid electronics because the quality of electronic products on AliExpress aren't the greatest. Like, even if you order a sample and it worked really well the first time, you're not guaranteed that it's durable and it'll work like 3 days later. So there's that with electronics. Next is beauty niche, is a very expensive niche to get into. When you're running ads, the CPMs are through the roof. And if you don't know what CPMs are, it's just basically how expensive your ads are to run. Next, we also have the baby niche. The reason why I'd avoid them is because parents won't really trust a new website, especially if it's a website that doesn't really look professional or doesn't have a lot of effort put into it. So parents really like to buy from credible websites and trustworthy websites. And that's why selling baby products is very hard to get into. And the last niche that I would avoid is the fitness niche, because although there's a lot of suppliers out there for fitness products, it's a very saturated niche and there's rarely any new products released for the fitness niche that stands out from the crowd. And so that's why I would avoid those niches. So next up is picking your products. And as you can see here, we have two arrows. And the reason why we have two arrows like this is because when you're picking your niche, you're going to then find your products for your niche. And if you can't find products for that niche, you then have to move on to the next niche. And sometimes you may be looking for different products and you find a niche within those products. And so sometimes finding your products, then your niche also works. So when you're picking your products, it either has to solve a problem or has a wow factor. Now, I know a lot of gurus talk about this, and to be honest, I believe in it too. However, I really want to explain what a wow factor product is. Because it's not like a normal product, it's like, oh wow, and then you skip through it. It's more like when your customers look at your products and they're like, oh my God, I need to buy this product right now. That's the feeling you want to evoke when you're selling your products. It's not like, oh wow, that's a cool product. Let me just add it to my store. It's a bit more than that. It's like you need that feeling where it's like, oh my God, yes, my customers are going to buy this. Like that sort of feeling. And you could test it out by showing these products to your demographics. Maybe your friends and family are part of that demographic group, and just show them this product and be like, would you buy this? And if they won't, then you know it's not really a wow factor. And also you can sell products that solves a problem, but it's very difficult to advertise these products because when you're trying to sell products that solves a problem, you really need to sell like the pain points, the emotions it evokes, and all these things. And you really need to be good at content creation, marketing, copywriting, knowing the right things to say, when to say it, and a lot of points like that. Next is finding winning products or untapped products. So a lot of gurus tell you, yeah, find those winning products. Use this app, Minia, use dropship.io, use all these spy tools to find your winning products. But for me, if everyone in the dropshipping space is doing that, where's the room to actually make money? Because everyone and all your competitors are selling the same products. And all these dropshipping apps out there who suggest winning products, how do you think they're going to find untapped products for you? They're only going to show you winning products that have data, and dropshippers who's already scaled these products to the moon, like they've been done and killed. It's very difficult to make money from them. And so what I usually suggest is finding untapped products. So untapped products are products where they're not really known in the e-commerce space. They're just been launched on AliExpress by suppliers, and you can be the first to sell them because they're untapped products, they're not known, and there are many benefits to this because one is only going to be you selling this product and maybe a few others who manage to find it. But it's very difficult to find untapped products amongst millions of products on AliExpress. So what I usually suggest is have a mix of winning products and untapped products on your store. You should also aim for average order value of $50. And this goes back to my point of like selling socks. There's no profit to be made. If you run ads for socks, 99% of the time you will lose money. And you could spend a whole year trying to advertise socks, you just never become profitable. Because one, advertising is expensive, and two, your profit margin amount is just not enough to cover your advertising costs. So $50 for your average order value is that sweet point that you want to aim for. Of course, you go lower than this, and if you go higher than this, even better. If you can find products that on like AliExpress for $30 and you can sell it for 90 or even 100 or 120. Perfect. And this is really beneficial because you acquire less customers to make the same amount of profit as someone else who has an average order value of $30 because they'll need to make more sales to generate the same profit as you. And so there's more hassle in that. There's more admin work, more customers to deal with, more orders to fulfill. And that's why the higher your average order value, the better. However, you don't want to aim for products where you can sell it for $500 or like 400 or 1,000 because now you're getting into the territory of high ticket drop shipping. And with that, there's a lot of custom taxes and duties to be paid when those products arrive in the customer's country. I had a subscriber who was drop shipping high ticket value items and his customs duties were like £100 for a product. And of course, he wanted to delight his customers, so he covered for these custom taxes. And so that's £100 off your profit margin. And so I wouldn't really sell products above like the $100 value on AliExpress. Next up is perceived value. You really want to find products where the perceived value of these products are very high. For example, jewelry is a high perceived value item. People are willing to pay more if they feel like what they're getting is a high perceived value item. And there are products out there where, like cat toys and dog toys, low perceived value items that you could get down the road from the pet shop for a few bucks. And that's why they're called low perceived value items, and I would steer clear from them because again, you'll just struggle to make money. And even if you try to raise prices to make more profit, you just won't make enough sales. So these are two videos that you can watch. This thumbnail is clickbait, so it's not actually top 10 winning products. It's actually 10 factors that you should consider when choosing your products. And this one here is stop selling cheap products, which relates to the average order value and the reason behind it. So how to actually find your niche and products? For me, I actually found my products on Instagram. I was literally scrolling on Instagram feed one day and I saw an ad for these products and I was like, oh my God, I want to buy them. And then I checked the price and I was like, that's expensive. And then found the exact same products on AliExpress. And that was my light switch moment. And I was like, I need to start drop shipping. But there are other methods out there like using Meta Ads Library. So if you just type on Google Facebook ad library, you can use this website to figure out what other advertisers are advertising. So you can search for specific niches, maybe it's home decor, maybe it's necklace, jewelry, fashion, you name it. So you can search for products, brands, or certain keywords that dropshippers use in their ads, like sale ends soon, 50% off, free shipping, or click shop now, limited time only. So these are keywords that dropshippers use in their ads. And if you just search that, there are a bunch of ads on there. Next, we have TikTok Creative Center. So you want to select the industry you want to explore, then select the objectives to conversions, change to last 180 days, and set likes to top percentile, and just see what products are being advertised and which one's getting the most traction. Next, we have the DSs tool. So DSs is an app that you can install on Shopify and it's free forever. Of course, there are paid plans and there are benefits to the paid plans, but I've been using DSs for the past 3 years now and they've always had this free forever plan. There's a free tool on there to find trending creatives as well as finding products for specific niches. You can also use Google Trends to check out trends for key words. So for example, if we look at a trend for dogs vs cats, you can clearly see that there are a lot of dog owners out there compared to cats that search for the keyword dogs on Google. Does this mean you should launch a dog store instead of a cat store? Well, it really depends if you prefer cats or dogs. If you have cats at home, I'm not going to launch a dog store. I'm launching a cat store because you already have your actors for when you want to create content. You have your own cats that you could film and record and make ads from. And you also understand cat lovers because you're a cat lover yourself and you'll resonate with your audience more. Next up, we want to talk about saturation. So a lot of people ask me like, how do you know if a product's saturated? Well, if there's many suppliers selling similar or same products on Amazon, you probably shouldn't dropship it. For example, this flame diffuser down here. If you search flame diffuser on Amazon, you can see a ton of suppliers selling them, and I will not dropship it. It's done. You'll probably find this product on Minia or dropship.io or the spy tools, and it'll tell you, oh, like this store is killing it, they're making so much sales, and so you would try to dropship it, but 99% of the time it will never work out because other people already figured out what the winning ads are. They got more budget than you. They've already optimized their pages and they already scaled it. It's just old products. And also the second point is if you could find your products easily on Google search, then it's probably likely that it's saturated. For example, if you search astronaut nightlight, just look how many products there are for the astronaut nightlight. It's scaled and done. Also, by looking at the sales on AliExpress is another good way to see if it's saturated. For example, this one here has 100,000 sales. That's killed. It's done. Don't ever sell it. Just because it has a lot of sales doesn't mean you can make sales too profitably. So I would avoid products like this. And next, we want to talk about trending industries. So, recent years, fashion has actually been dominating the market. Like every year, the market size for the fashion industry is just growing. Over here, we got electronics as well. But again, the electronics industry is very hard to get into because of how poor the product quality is on AliExpress. Next, we have the spending for entertainment and media and also furniture market. So this is more for home decor and this is more for like selling ebooks or films and stuff like that or images. So that's entertainment and media. And next is the e-learning market, like online e-learning, selling ebooks, selling PDFs, and that's basically digital e-commerce where you're selling a digital product and you don't really need to ship anything out because it's all digital. And so it's actually a really good business model to get into if you're good at making PDFs and writing ebooks. Now, those are the trending industries, but it doesn't mean you should like create a store around this. There are many other niches that you could get into that are also trending. And so it's best to look at trending industries on Google and figure out what niches are trending. Maybe it's a theme, so like a specific demographics that's growing and they need somewhere to buy all their products from. And so that, guys, is how to find your niche and products. And what I usually suggest is start brainstorming the niches that you want to get into, the different types of themes for that niche. Maybe if you want to start a home decor store, is it going to be Scandinavian theme? Is it going to be black, all black theme? Or is it going to be all white theme? Is it going to be all green or all yellow? Is it going to be all wooden and stuff like that? Is it going to be futuristic? So those are sort of themes that you could like consider. Of course, if you do more research, there are plenty of other themes out there. So once you brainstorm your niches, find the products on AliExpress for your niches. And what I usually suggest is to find 10 to 50 products for each niche and then decide, okay, I'm probably going to go down this niche. And so once you've decided on which niche you want to go to, it's time to move on to the next part of the blueprint. So next up we have your brand, and this is a very exciting area, especially because I'm a brand specialist. I love creating logos and coming up with that branded look and feel for your store. And so the first thing you want to do is just sketch out logos on textbooks, just literally sketch them out. And if you don't have too much time on this, you create your logo with Canva and you just skip the sketching stage. But personally for me, I like to sketch my logos out and then design them on Illustrator. Of course, if you don't have Adobe Illustrator, then you can also use Canva to create your logo. And you should probably watch YouTube videos about creating logos. Again, this refers to my point before, where I suggest you learn from non-dropshipping gurus and you're learning from actual brand designers who are passionate about creating brands. And you'll learn a lot of things about creating your logo, choosing the right colors, choosing the right fonts, and just how to create your logo in general. And when you're starting a dropshipping store, you really want to develop these skills and learn about new things. so that even if your dropshipping store fails, you've learned a lot and you can maybe apply it into future jobs, or maybe you start studying it more and you'll go down that route instead. And you could also use ChatGPT for inspiration. So if you haven't watched my free 2-hour course yet, I used ChatGPT to come up with my brand name. It was basically a jewelry store and I needed a first name and surname. The reason why I did this is because usually jewelry stores or brands is usually a full name. So yes, using ChatGPT is a good idea. And you should also create a logo and also a fav icon. So a fav icon is basically the small little symbol for your logo, and the logo itself should be your name. And so usually if you're like creating a fashion brand, the logo is just thick black text. And so sometimes keeping it simple is better for your brand. Next up, we want to talk about being more generic is better than being too specific. So let's just say you want to create a store around cat beds. It doesn't mean you should create your logo as a cat bed. What you should do is make it more generic and just gear it towards cats so that in the future you can stem out to different products within the cat niche. If you create a logo just for cat beds, you're kind of stuck with that for the rest of your journey with this brand. You can also find logos in your niche for inspiration, and you can simply just use Google for that. I have two videos here which was made 4 years ago and 3 years ago talking about brands and how to create your logo. So next up is choosing your colors. And if you're not good with colors, I suggest you just stick with black because it's just easy to go with, you can't go wrong, and most brands they just use black. So you got a bunch of logos under each color here. And we could also go to this chart here, most popular brand colors. So restaurants mainly red, airlines mainly blue and red, communications usually blue, apparel and fashion is mainly black and a bit of red, automotive gray. And so let's just say you want to go into the home decor niche. What you want to do is type on Google home decor brand colors and it'll tell you. And usually it's going to be related to your theme. So if you're Scandinavian look, then you want to go for like a navy blue or dark green, right? So it really depends on your theme and niche that you're going into. There's a few points here. So like red is for excitement, love. Orange is for bravery, confidence. Yellow for creativity, warmth. So this diagram here is basically about color theory and what emotions each color evokes. And that's why it's very important that you choose the right color for your brand. And you don't want to go too vibrant. You just want to stick to more natural hues. For example, made.com for a home decor store is very homely and warm, but of course their logo is just black. Nice, simple. Priya, which is a jewelry brand, you can see they're going for that warm suntan look. And again, their logo is just black. So honestly, if you don't really know much about branding, sticking to black is your safest bet. So next up, we have typography. And you can see here, usually brands, they just stick to basic font. It really just works. You don't really need to go too fancy with a logo. But again, it really depends on your niche and what you're going for. So what I usually do is type on Google common fonts for niche e-commerce. So in this example is common fonts for fashion e-commerce. And if you want to start a home decor store, it could be common fonts for home decor e-commerce brands. And you could see here, these are common fonts that people use. And what you want to do is use these fonts to build your logos. And so that there is how you build your logo, guys, and how to come up with your typography and your color scheme. And also last point about color scheme, you really don't want to choose too many colors. You really just want to have a primary color and maybe a few secondary colors to put onto your website. Now let's just say you choose orange as your main brand color. It doesn't mean that you use orange everywhere on your website. You really just want subtle hints of orange on your website. Maybe it's your add to cart buttons or your buttons around your website, and maybe titles, but that's about it. You don't need your navigation bar orange. You don't need all your paragraph text to be orange. And the best way to learn about branding is just looking at other brands and seeing how they execute their brand colors, their typography. So next up, we have our store. And so now at this point, you have your niche, you have your products, you have your logo, and you're ready to build your store. And I suggest using Shopify. I've used WordPress in the past, like 5 years ago when I first started, and it was the worst experience ever. And I quickly transitioned to Shopify, and ever since then, I've stuck with Shopify. So I do have an affiliate link that you can use for Shopify. You get the first 3 months for £1 each month. So for 90 days, it costs you £3 to launch a Shopify store. It's up to you if you want to use it, but honestly, I only generate income from my affiliate links if you guys make money. So it's in my best interest that you guys are profitable with your stores. And so Shopify is where you'll create your store, and then you'll find your products on AliExpress. Now, I know a lot of gurus are against AliExpress, and they always say, oh, shipping times are long, ship times are long. And now all these beginner drop shippers always come to my channel like, but AliExpress shipping times are long. And I'm like, no, it's not, guys. I've been drop shipping with AliExpress for 5 years now, and shipping times are fast. Products arrive within 5 to 10 business days to customers in the US, UK, Australia, and sometimes in the EU, but EU does take slightly longer. It really depends. So shipping times isn't a problem with AliExpress, and also the benefit of AliExpress is that you get to find your own suppliers, work with them, build that relationship, nurture that, and then ask them to print branded cards for you, print thank you cards, choose custom packaging, etc. And then you're going to install DSs on Shopify, which is an app that you can use to automate your fulfillment process. So you're going to need to use DSs to import products from AliExpress onto DSs, and then DSs onto your Shopify store. And so that's like a two-step process. You're then going to use the Dawn theme to create your store. It's completely free. I've used it to build my jewelry store, which is a demo store. By the way, I don't have a jewelry store. So if you don't know how to use the Dawn theme, or you don't know how to build a store with it, I have a course there for you guys. It's totally free on my YouTube channel. So once you find your products on AliExpress, what you're going to do is copy the product link on AliExpress onto DSs. And so on DSs, on the left hand side, you're going to click on import list, and you're going to paste the product link in here and click OK. Sometimes it may not let you import because of the flag. For example, if this flag is set to the UK, but that supplier doesn't ship to the UK, then it won't let you import. However, if you're only selling to the US, change that flag to the US, and it'll probably import if your supplier ships to the US. An alternative method to add products to DSs via AliExpress is installing the DS's Chrome extension, and then you'll have this button here on the AliExpress product page. It just says add to DSs, and you basically just click that button, it'll add the product to DSs, and you move on to the next product. Click it again, and it's added to DSs, you move on to the next product, and it's very quick. And I prefer this method. So there are a few videos to watch about DSs. So the first video to watch is how to add products to Shopify from AliExpress. Here's why you must use DSs, fast and reliable suppliers, how to find them. And then once you found your suppliers and imported your products, it's time to build your website. And these 3 videos here will help you with that. So next we want to focus on choosing suppliers, because there are a bunch of suppliers on AliExpress, and you're probably like, okay, which one should I work with? So there's actually 3 types of suppliers on AliExpress. You got the pure choice suppliers, you got the choice suppliers, and you got the normal suppliers that has no choice. And the 2 I suggest you work with are the normal ones, which has no choice, or the middle one, which has choice. And the reason why I say don't work with the pure choice suppliers is because you can't actually communicate with them. Again, you want to avoid pure choice suppliers, and it's quite easy to spot them. Usually this black bar up here doesn't have this positive reviews, doesn't have the followers, doesn't have following, and if you press contact now, it will take you to this yellow screen, and it has a chat box with an AliExpress agent, and those are the suppliers you want to avoid because you can't ever talk to your suppliers. And so this is a good example of a store here that you can work with. You can see here that they've been open since 2018, which is really long time ago. You can see that they have a 93.7% positive reviews, and I usually suggest you work with stores above 90% reviews rating. You'll then have their followers, and then follow and contact now. And so when you press contact now on this and you've logged in to AliExpress, you'll be taken to the message.aliexpress.com center, and it should look grey, and that's where you can communicate with your suppliers directly. So the store should be open for at least a year. So this store here has been open for like 7 years. The following count doesn't really matter because it can be faked, but it's good to have 100 plus followers. It should also have the contact now button available, and as I explained, it should take you to a grey message center and not a yellow one. So another store down here is Who.Pet. This is a good store for pets. When you click on all their products, you can see they have 365 items, all related to pets. And so you'll go through all their items, check if it's in stock, check their stock level, check if it's sellable on your store, make sure the profit margin's good, and then you could add it to your store. You could also click sort by orders up here and see what products are being sold most. And of course, like these balls here, will you make profit from selling balls that your customers can buy down the road? Probably not, and that's why I wouldn't sell it. And when it comes to choosing your suppliers, people ask me how many suppliers can you work with? Well, you can work with as many as you want. However, it will get messy the more suppliers you work with. And so what I suggest is find a really good suppliers to work with where you can add multiple products from their store into your store. And so when customers buy from you, at least it's coming from a few main suppliers and not like 10 suppliers or 20 or 30 even. And what you want to do is message the suppliers that you want to work with. And this is the message you send. Hey friend, I am a professional dropshipper and I'm interested in dropshipping your products. Do you offer dropshipping and how fast do you prepare orders? And if you want to ask for stock count for certain products that have a low stock count, you can also do that too. So next we want to talk about apps that you should install onto your Shopify store. So the first one is Yotpo, which is to do with SMS marketing, and you can send automated SMSs to your customers whenever they abandon your checkout or your cart. And this is a good way to bring your customers back into your store and increase your profits and conversion rates. Next, you want to install Aftersell, which is a good app to increase average order value and just convince customers to buy a second item from your store. You want to import reviews with Judge Me, which is a very important app. And you'll basically import reviews from AliExpress onto your store. And you want to read through these reviews and search for keywords like seller or AliExpress. So you make sure that any reviews with AliExpress or seller in them, you're removing those reviews or you're editing the review to change it to whatever your store name is. So it wouldn't be like, oh, this is the best product I bought from AliExpress. It will be like, this is the best product I bought ever from this store. And then the next app you want to install is email marketing with Shopify Flow. So you'll need the Shopify Flow to generate these automated emails that you send to your customers. So it's the same concept as the SMS one, but instead you're sending emails. So some people like checking their email, some people like checking their messages. And so by sending abandoned cart emails or welcome emails or whatever it may be, depending on what automated flows you have set up, it'll send them out to your customers. And the reason why I put Klaviyo as X here is because, again, as I mentioned earlier, they're charging me a ridiculous amount of money to have Klaviyo installed when I don't even send out that many automated emails. And so I'll be leaving Klaviyo and using Shopify Flow, which is totally free. Totally free to use. That's why I'm saying I don't know why Klaviyo is charging me $2,000 a month when there are other apps out there that does the same job. And so I have a video on Yotpo and how to use it. And if you want to learn how to import reviews with Judge Me, on my free course, you want to skip to 1 hour, 31 minutes. And that's where I discuss Judge.me. The two payment providers that I've always used since the beginning is Shopify Payments, powered by Stripe, and PayPal. Now, if these two aren't available in your country, you could try Stripe, but Stripe really doesn't like dropshipping. Now, Shopify Payments is powered by Stripe, but they allow dropshipping. Really weird concept. I'm not too sure why, but they allow it. So the fees associated with Shopify Payments and PayPal is that Shopify Payments is a lot cheaper than PayPal if you consider like currency conversion rates and currency conversion fees. So let's just say I sell a product in the US to a US customer and they pay in USDs, then the fees that I'll pay on Shopify Payments is much less than PayPal. Shopify payments is around 3% on average year on year. PayPal is around 7%. That's an extra 4% that they charge me just for processing payments. Now, although PayPal charges me 7% on my payments, does that mean I'm going to remove them from my website? No, not really, because some customers prefer to use PayPal, and so I keep it on. Next, we're going to talk about policy pages. So building a website doesn't just mean adding products to your store and then creating the product page and homepage and calling it a day. You want to make this website feel professional and legitimate so that when your customers land on your website, they feel like they're buying from a brand and not a drop shipper. And so you want FAQs, you want a support page, return policies, shipping information, privacy policy, terms and conditions, and about us. And I have a video on this. It's not got many views. It's because people don't care about policy pages, but you should. Okay, so next up we have a product page, because this is a very important page, and as I mentioned before, if your customers don't like your product page, they're going to click away and not add your products to your cart and not check out. So I have two videos here that you can watch: the perfect product page and how to write copy that sells. And so when you're building your product page, we want to focus on the above the fold first. So above the fold is basically when your users land on your product page on their phone, it's the first screen they see that is above the fold. And then below the fold is everything below the screen. And so above the fold, it should have your product title, your star reviews, it should have multiple product photos. And when I say multiple product photos, you need to make sure they're professional and they look branded, because I've seen so many product photos where you just import it from AliExpress and you call it a day. That's job not done. You need to make sure there's no logo on it. You need to make sure there's no text on there. You need to make sure that it's professional, etc. You need to make sure they're all consistent with each other. You need to make sure they're all the same dimensions. For example, if one picture is a square and another one's a rectangle, it will not work, because when users are swiping through your carousel of images, it's going to go from a square to rectangle, square, rectangle. It's a bad user experience. Next, we have irresistible price and offer. And so what you want to do is add a sale price and a comparison price. That way customers feel like they're saving. And also you want to have limited variants, because if you have too many variants on your product page, it'll just confuse your customers. Let's just say you're importing jewelry from AliExpress and that your supplier has like 10 products on one product page. It doesn't mean you import all 10 onto your Shopify store on one product page. Maybe you need to split it out into different like product pages. Maybe it's based on the theme or the shape. Maybe it's this one's hearts, this one's butterflies, that one's stars, and you split them out into different product pages. You want a clear and bold add to cart button. There's also the dynamic checkout buttons, which you can actually remove. And you can do this by customizing your store, going to the product page, and then removing the dynamic buttons. You should also put shipping and processing information on your product pages. So you should mention the estimated time frame for processing and shipping times. So usually what I say is processing times takes between 1 to 3 business days, and then shipping times takes between 5 to 10 business days. So any guarantees and company USPs, you could put this under the add to cart button as well. And a compelling statement that resonates with customers' interest, top problem solving points or USP, or social proof from satisfied customers. Now, of course, it's very hard to put this all above the fold, but if you could fit the majority of this above the fold and maybe have these below the add to cart button, that also works. So for example, why choose Pleshy? Satisfaction guaranteed, encrypted checkout, worldwide shipping, 100,000 plus happy customers. This one's from the UD, I believe. So there's that. And then next we have problem solving statement. So these are usually the 50-50 features. And what I mean by 50-50 block is that 50% of that section is image and 50% of that section is text. And that's why it's called 50-50. This usually showcases a problem solving feature or compelling statement or short description of USPs, and that's unique selling points of your products. And you should also have visual USPs in the image, or maybe it's a GIF or short video of your products. And you could also use bullet points and icons to feature your problem solving statements. But usually 50-50 split text and image blocks works well. So next up we have product benefits feature. So you'll research your audience and gain an understanding of their needs and desires. Because if you don't understand what they need or want or their desires, how are you going to sell the product to them? You should always try to provide value to your customers because at the end of the day, you're exchanging value for their money. You want to focus on their needs and offer solutions. And in this section, you can have product features and problem solving points. Visual problem solving icons as well, like this here. And you can also use lifestyle images, videos, or GIFs to break up your page and split all that paragraph and chunks of text, because otherwise there's just too much text and your customers won't want to read it. So what I'd suggest you do is read these paragraphs and figure out their tone of voice, what they're mentioning, and also avoid AI to write these for you, because the thing is, ChatGPT don't understand your products, your product benefits, their needs, their wants, etc. Unless you explain all of that to ChatGPT or any AI bot you use, then okay, that works, right? Because the more detailed input you give to the bot, the more detailed response it will spit out. Another good feature you could have on your website is us vs them. So it's basically saying why you should buy from us and not your competitors. And you basically educate your visitors by comparing your products to competitors. You highlight unique features, key differences and benefits, and you mention your USP. Next, we have social proof, and it's always good to have some sort of social proof on your website to increase credibility and trust. Because again, this is a brand new website that your customers are probably landing on, and they just don't know much about you. Do they trust you? Well, this is why we need social proof. So the reason why we want to add social proof here is because your customers have scrolled all the way down to this point. And this is where you establish trust with all your social reviews and social proof. You want to present positive feedback from customers so you can actually handpick these and only showcase these specific reviews. You could also showcase before and after photos or maybe as videos that shows results from using your products. Building trust is the goal here. And once you've established credibility and trust, your sales will start coming through. So some discounts and offers that you can use on your website and for your products are buy one get one free, buy two get one free, or buy two get 25% off, different bulk discounts or different threshold discounts like spend $50, save 10% off or something like that. You should also add a frequently asked questions section at the bottom of your product page. And you want to address questions that your customers may have about your products. You want to research the potential questions that customers may have. For example, if you're selling clothes, a lot of customers will ask you about your return policy. Answer questions that could be a deciding factor in their purchase. And you want to check various product listings on AliExpress and even Amazon and see what people are asking and how you can answer them. Another way to do this is carefully reviewing customer reviews on AliExpress and seeing what they say. And next up, you want to use Judge Me to import customer reviews onto your website. It's very easy to do, but it's very tedious depending on how many products you have on your site. Of course, the more products you have on your site, the more reviews you need to import. This section basically aims to alleviate any last doubts and showcase all reviews for the product. You want to use Judge Me app on Shopify, and you'll then import the reviews from AliExpress to kickstart your reviews. And then you can also send review requests to your customers. You don't want to write fake reviews because it's actually against the law. And do not just have 5-star reviews on your website. Mix it up between 3 to 5-star reviews and avoid adding 1 to 2-star reviews. So next up we have inspiration. So a few stores that you could take inspiration from are like Shop Fabulous, but I've actually looked at their website. It's not the best. However, they're printing money. They have like 1,000 meta ads running, a lot of Google ads running. So this just goes to show that you need to focus on your website, your product, and your content creation for your ads. Next is the Udi. You can check out their website here. You could also check out Popring's website. So these are all stores that you could check out. Another one is Snow. And all four of these stores started out as dropshippers, but I believe they actually have their own products now. But they're still great websites to take inspiration from. And I also suggest you take inspiration from legitimate brands out there. For example, if you're starting a fitness store, then you should check out Gymshark. And if you want to start a jewelry store, then you should check out jewelry brands. And that's it with the product page. And now we're going to move on to the next section. So next up, we have content creation, which is another important pillar that you need to focus on. Because as I mentioned before, if your content sucks, no one's going to watch your ads. No one's going to click through to your website from your ads. And that's why it's a really important area to focus on. And so the first thing we want to do is plan. Because if you don't know how to create good content or what content is doing really well out there, how do you know what to make? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Literally find out what's working out there and just copy it and make your own version. And maybe put a twist on it. So the first thing you want to actually do is decide if you need video creatives to advertise your products. Because not all products need videos. It's only products where you're trying to evoke emotion or you're trying to solve a problem or it's such a new product that customers just don't know what it is if they see a picture of it, so you need a video. Usually pet products require videos because it's nice and cute to look at an animal interact with your product. And usually where I go to is Meta Ads Library and just watch content. It's a great place to find inspiration and learn about content creation. Next, you also need to decide if the product images provided by AliExpress are professional enough for you to use on your store and for your ads. Because if they're not and they're not consistent, then you either need to use AI to edit it, or you order the product in yourself and take pictures, or you send it to your friends and family and they take pictures for you, but that's probably not the best route. And four, send it to photographers and they take pictures for you. However, that is quite expensive. So usually what I suggest is find suppliers where the product images are professional and high quality enough for you to use on your store. And sometimes you may need to edit photos provided by AliExpress where you're removing the logo from the images or text from the images, which is quite a tedious task if you don't know how to edit images. And even if you know how to edit images, it's still a very tedious task because it's just another extra step you have to do whenever you're importing a new product to your store. So next step, we want to find content. So if you decided that you need to create videos, then you want to find viral videos on TikTok, or you can find videos on the Instagram app. And so what you want to do is just search for your niche or search for a specific product on TikTok or Instagram and find videos that are trending for your products, or maybe a similar products in your niche. And you just want to basically learn about how they created this content and made it go viral. Is it because of the caption? Is it because of the music? Is it because of the visual hook? There's so many factors involved, and we'll talk about that later. So you want to find reels and images on the Instagram app, see what's working. And you could also use a video downloader to download the videos on TikTok. And that's just a great way to get content. But you need to be careful with this because you don't want to download other brands' content. However, if it's content that's randomly being posted by a stranger online, then sure, you could take that content, mix and match it up with other content, and create content out of it. I also use the Meta Ads Library to find ad creatives. And as you can see here, this is Shop Fabulov. They have 1,000 ads running. And what you want to do is just watch each ad, take notes on what they're doing. So moving on to our next point is studying the videos you find. You want to understand the script, literally like write out their script and see what they're writing. How long is the first sentence? What are they saying in the first sentence? Because if you think about it, guys, if your first sentence is rubbish, why would they read your second one or even listen to your second sentence or the third sentence in your video? So it's very important that you focus on the first sentence and also the rest of the script. You then want to understand the visual hook and text hook that these videos are using. Is someone jumping into the screen? Are they like waving their hands around? Are they running into the shot? Are they throwing the product in the air? Like, what are they doing in the first 3 seconds? And also, what do they have on screen? Do they have like a text on top of their head? Do they have the text here? Is the text white? Is the text colored? All these things you need to think about. You then want to see if they're using AI voice or human voice, or if there's no voice at all in the videos. And so decide on that. And also you decide if it's a male or female voice. Next is background music. Is there background music? If there is, what sort of background music are they using? Can you try to use that music yourself? So yeah, another thing to figure out. And then the last part is timing of clips and the pace of your videos. How long is the first clip? How long is the second clip? And you want to see how long or short is each clip. Like, is the shortest clip 3 seconds? Because if it is, that means you shouldn't really add any clips to your videos that is less than 3 seconds, because it may be too rushed or too fast for your audience. So there's a lot of things to think about. And when you learn about content creation, again, don't watch dropshipping gurus talk about content creation. You want to learn from actual content creators. So methods of sourcing creatives. So there's 5 different methods. You either film your own content, you send your products to your friends and family and they'll film it for you, or you send your products to UGC content creators, which you can find on Fiverr or Upwork, and it should cost you around $30 to $100. Anything more is just a bit too expensive, but of course you get what you pay for. However, when you do send your products to UGC content creators, you also want to send them a basic script and also some visual ideas. Otherwise, they'll just create anything for you and you're just not going to get your money's worth. Next is Instagram and TikTok influencers. Usually this is a free method where you don't pay them. You only send them the product and they'll just make a video for you. But because you're not paying them, you can't really ask them to like, oh, can you film this, say this, and stuff like that. It's usually just go with the flow and they say whatever they want. And then find existing content online. Maybe it's on AliExpress, TikTok, Facebook, Google, YouTube, etc. And then you mix and match the videos. So I use CapCut to edit my videos, and I recommend CapCut. Like I use CapCut to edit everything, or you use Premiere Pro. So once you've got your inspiration, you've filmed the content, you've sourced all your videos, and you've created your video, then you want to create multiple versions of that video. You don't need to recreate the whole video again to create another video. All you're doing is changing the first 3 seconds of that video with a different visual hook, a different caption, different sound effect, etc. And that way you can create multiple versions of this ad very, very quickly, and it's not time consuming at all because all you're doing is changing the first 3 seconds. The reason for this is because usually dropshippers struggle to successfully hook their customers onto watching an ad. And you could check your metrics on Facebook and see how long your customers are staying for your ad. And usually it's 3 seconds because they watched the first 3 seconds and you didn't hook them on to stay watching for the rest of the video. And so by changing the first 3 seconds, you're testing more and more different visual hooks and captions and just constantly testing to figure out what works. Once you find something that works and it extends the average play time to 6 seconds, then you need to ask yourself what's happening at the 3rd to 6th second. And then you change that basically. And then your average play time may extend to 9 seconds. And 9 seconds is a very long time for someone to watch an ad. It's a pretty decent time frame to have. And if they click through to your ads, your cost per click is cheap, you're profitable, then you've successfully created good ad creatives. So we've got 2 sections left, guys. Bear with me, we're nearly there. And honestly, if you made it to this part of the video, like kudos to you, like respect. So when it comes to marketing and planning, it really depends on how many viable products you have on your store and how many subcategories, because this will affect how you structure your campaigns on the ads manager. For example, if you're running a pet store and you have 5 subcategories on your store, let's say it's like toys, beds, accessories, clothing, food, or whatever it may be, I probably wouldn't advertise all 5 of those categories at once because one, it'll be very expensive. 2, you'll be dabbling in too many ads. You wouldn't know how to optimize them all at the same time. It'll just be too much headache and work. So what I'd suggest you focus on one subcategory at the beginning and then create that campaign for that subcategory. So it could be like dog beds. That'll be the campaign name. And then you'll create ads for your dog beds. So there are a few different formats that you can use. So carousel ads to test multiple products at once. So let's just say you have 10 dog beds on your website. Then you could use the carousel ads. Of course, you want to make sure that the images that you're using for these carousels are professional and feature the product. You don't need to have like too much text on the ad or anything like that. It's literally product image, you're good. Then you have image ads to test single products with basic images. So again, it's kind of like the images that you're using for carousel, but you're using it just for a single image ad. And there's also this 20% text to image rule that Facebook has for these images. Basically, your images shouldn't have more than 20% of the image as text. And so this rule, you can read up about it. And also video ads to test single products. And there is actually a fourth format, which is called instant experience, where it's like an experience for your customers to go on, and it showcases multiple products from your store, which is actually good if you want to showcase all your products from your store. So all your subcategories, all your products into one experience. So the Facebook campaign structure will look something like this. So at campaign level, you'll set your objective, and that objective is only ever going to be sales. Whenever you're running ads for e-commerce, is only going to be optimized for sales and purchases, nothing else. Everything else is a waste of money unless your pockets are deep and full of money. Then you can have a proper user journey with different like ads in each section with different objectives. But for most dropshippers and even for myself, all we run is sales campaigns. Next, in that campaign, we're going to have different ad sets. And in these ad sets, you're going to define the target, your budget, your placements, your optimization, and your bid. Most of the time, you'll be optimizing for purchases only, and your placement will be to Facebook and Instagram. Your budget will be around $5 to $10 per ad set, and your targeting, you want to test broad these interests. I know a lot of gurus out there telling you to, just go broad, just go broad. No, it's not really, because if you sell dog products, you want to target people who owns dogs. And so you want to speed up that process and help Facebook understand that your products are for dog owners only. You then have your ads within the ad set, and this is where you define your creative ad format. So you got campaign, ad sets, and ads. So the first campaign you're gonna ever set up is called a testing campaign. And this testing campaign you could keep on forever, literally forever. And so for our example is dog beds, right? And so this campaign is for dog beds only, and you could just keep testing new ad sets and new ads inside this campaign. And the reason being is because this is an ABO campaign. And an ABO campaign is ad set budget optimization. So what we'll do is set the budget at ad set level. That means if you close this ad set, it's not going to affect the other 4 ad sets. And you also have power to decide how much budget is given to each ad set. And now the other type of campaign is a CBO campaign, which stands for Campaign Budget Optimization. And this method basically allows Facebook to distribute the budget for you. So you'll set the budget at campaign level. So let's just say it's $50 a day. And then Facebook will decide where that $50 goes within the ad sets. And that's not good, because let's just say you switch off 2 ad sets. That means Facebook will distribute $50 within the free, right? But let's just say you add 10 ad sets to this campaign, a CBO campaign. That means that $50 is being distributed amongst the 15 ad sets, which you do not want. And that's why we want an ABO campaign for when we're testing. So we've got broad ad set here, interest, 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 interest. And what you want to do is test different interests. So in this example of selling dog beds, we want to target not dog lovers, but dog owners. So we need to ask ourselves, how are we going to target dog owners and not dog lovers? So the first thing is, you shouldn't really target just dogs, because someone may like dogs, but they don't actually own a dog. So targeting them is a waste of money. So you really want to come up with interest and think about them properly. And for this interest, we can use dog pet food brands, or maybe it's a specific type of dog breed. And this is more closer to a dog owner than a dog lover. So inside our ad set, we'll have 3 ad creatives. And so this can be 3 different types of videos, maybe it's 3 different images, or maybe it's a carousel, an image, and an image, but it can never be a video carousel. Because what you'll notice after running your ads is the carousel will not get any spend. The reason being is Facebook likes putting the budget towards videos. So if you ever want to run ads for a carousel format and a video format, they need to split into different ad sets. Same with images. So images should never go with videos. However, images can go with carousels in the same ad set. So ad creative video 1, video 2, video 3 should be the same as this ad creative here, and here, and here. And if this is confusing, don't worry, I have a lot of videos on how to run ads, so do check them out. And when you run your ads, wait 2 days, and these are the metrics you want to aim for. So you want to aim for your cost per click to be below $1. And then you want to aim for your add to cart rate to be more than 4%. So this is ad side and this is your website. The reason why we're aiming for this is because ultimately your cost per click is what you're paying for your ads. And if it's more than $1 per click, that means for 100 visitors to your store, it's going to cost you more than $100, right? $1 per click, $100 for 100 clicks. And that means you're going to need to make a lot of sales to cover that ad cost. And this also depends on your average order value. Let's just say you're selling something for $150. That means your cost per click can actually go up a little. Like it could go up to maybe $2, right? Before you start switching off ads. So it really depends on your average order value. But if your average order value is around $50, you want to aim for your cost per click to be below $1. Otherwise, it's simply too expensive. So once you've optimized and you found your winning ads, you then want to scale. But honestly, at this stage, there's not really any point of me talking about scaling until you've run your testing campaign, you've optimized, and you actually start becoming profitable. That's when you start scaling. Because you don't scale ads if you're not profitable. Like you really need to be profitable or at least breaking even before you scale. And so you can scale with a CBO campaign, and basically you would just duplicate the ad sets from the ABO campaign, which is this one up here, into your CBO campaign, and then you just scale up. And I have videos in more depth on how to scale, test, and optimize your ads that I don't really want to go into too much detail on this video, otherwise it will just take forever. So do refer to those videos. So when you do run your ads, you need to customize your columns, because if you don't customize your columns, you're going to be reading the wrong metrics. And if you're reading the wrong metrics, how can you make the right decisions to optimize your campaigns? So you want to customize your columns like this, and it's on the Meta Ads dashboard, and it's around like the top right of the screen. And you basically want impressions, CPM, CTR, CPC all. Now, there's CPC all and there's also CPC link click through rate. There's a difference between the two. So, all is when a customer or viewer clicks on anything, maybe they like your post, they follow you, they go to your profile, etc. However, CPC link click through rate is only when they press that shop now button. For me, I prefer CPC all, but you can track both of them. And the reason why I prefer that is because sometimes the customer journey is different. Sometimes customers may click on your profile and then to your store. Next, we have add to carts, checkout initiated, purchases, cost per result, your budget, amount spent, your results, your purchase ROAS, your purchase conversion value, and your frequency. So definitely change your columns to these metrics if you want to analyze your ads properly. And so these are the videos that you should watch on my channel. 12 things I wish I knew before running ads, my strategy in 2024, which I'm still using to this day, 1.2 million year ad strategy. This is how to automate your ads with dynamic carousel ads. And essentially, you're connecting your Shopify product catalog into Meta and they basically talk to each other. So whenever you add products to Shopify, it'll update Meta's catalog and it will automatically advertise your ads if you have dynamic ads on. And this is a quick way to test products because the second you add your products to Shopify, maybe the next day Facebook will add it to their catalog and it's into your new ads and they're being advertised. Next is how to test and scale Facebook ads, and it's basically a flow chart that you can follow. This is also a good video to watch because it's actually how to optimize your Facebook ads and your funnel. And this video here is how to create your testing campaign. And I also have other videos out there, so definitely give them a watch. So how do you actually deal with being banned from advertising on Meta? Because it occurs very frequently and you'll probably get banned if you do run ads. Now, don't get spooked. It's probably just normal checks that they're doing. I don't know why they just like banning people and then they ask you to verify yourself. That's the process they have in place. I'm not too sure why they just don't pause the ads and then ask for it. They just like banning. So unfortunately, I can't actually help you with this as I haven't been banned in the past 4 years of advertising. However, if you do get banned, calm down, just submit all the necessary documents that Facebook asks for. I think it's like your driving license or your passport and self-employment letters and stuff like that. They just want to verify that it's you and you're not a scammer because there's too many scammers on Facebook, so they're just very cautious. And also, never use a VPN when running ads because that will get you banned. Other times is if you travel on holiday and you access your ads manager from like a weird location, then they may ban you because they're like, who the hell is just logged into your ads manager? But it's very easy to get your account back. So, other advertising platforms. So, the first one is Google Ads, of course. Everyone knows about Google Ads. However, it isn't the best advertising platform for dropshippers selling low ticket items because customers are able to find your products for cheaper elsewhere. It can work well, however, if you establish a strong brand or you sell products that have your logo on it or is hard to find elsewhere, or high ticket items where you can laser focus your Google Ads to specific demographics. It's also a very, very big learning curve to understand Google Ads and all the tools it has to offer. Next, we have TikTok ads, and in the US, it's very unstable due to the nature of them constantly being on the chopping block or being banned. I mean, it recently got banned and then it got unbanned, and now it's got like a 70-day time frame before it gets banned again. So it's just such a headache to successfully run TikTok ads in the long term if you're trying to advertise to the US. And I also have an issue where I'm from the UK and I can only advertise to UK TikTokers or TikTokers in Europe. I can't advertise to US or Canada or Australia. But yeah, TikTok is a great place for products aimed at really young audience and products that are hot and trending because trends die quick on there. And so you have to constantly keep adding new products to your store and constantly trying to find out winning products. Next, we have Pinterest ads, and it's only good for certain niches and more geared towards women because usually it's women on Pinterest. It's a visual based platform, so your images needs to be visually appealing and following trends on Pinterest. So you need to be on Pinterest to figure out what trends are trending right now. And if you're not on Pinterest, then how do you know what the trends are? It also depends on the angle and messaging in your ads and you want to gear them more towards women. So we finally made it to the last part of this blueprint and it's about the admin work. When you actually start receiving orders, there's a lot of admin work involved with running an e-commerce business. So how do you actually fulfill your orders with DSs? It's actually pretty simple and I actually have a video on it that just goes through the 3 steps you need to order. So here are 9 steps to the user journey and how you fulfill your orders. So your customer places an order in your Shopify store. your order will appear on your Shopify admin panel, and then your order will also appear on DSs. Now, if it doesn't, then there's probably something wrong with how you import your products or how it's mapped. You then place your order on DSs, and then your customer's order will appear on AliExpress. Then you need to pay for your order on AliExpress, and your supplier will begin processing your order. So how DSs automates this is basically it'll order for you, it'll fit in the customer's address, and then that's it. And then you have to go to AliExpress to pay for your order. And then your supplier, after 1 or 2 days, or sometimes 3 days, they'll assign a tracking number to your order. DSs will then send this tracking number to your customers automatically, and it will fulfill your Shopify order without you having to manually click the fulfill order on Shopify. However, this only happens if you're on the paid plan with DSs. So that's one of the reasons why you kind of need the paid DSS plan once you start getting orders. So in the next section is how to prevent fraud, because no one ever talks about this. And if they do, they're probably just suggesting an app. However, the way I've done it is a two-factor authentication trick that you can implement into your Shopify store if you're using Shopify payments, and it takes literally 1 minute to set up. All you're going to do is go to the settings on Shopify, click on payments, manage Shopify payments, and you'll be brought to this screen here. You'll scroll down to customer billing statement, and you'll change the statement name to SP, your store name, whatever your store name is, and then a 4-digit number at the end. So it could be like 5931. And anytime a fraudulent order comes in, or you're unsure if your customer's a scammer or not, you'll basically ask them to confirm those 4 digits, 5931 or something. And that is the number that your customers need to give you. And if they can't verify that, then they're most likely the scammer. Because the reason why this works is that this number appears on their billing statement. Scammers don't have access to your customer's billing statement. If they do, then your customers probably hacked really badly. But most of the time, scammers only steal the card details and they use it to buy things online. But they never really have access to the account where your customers can see their billing statement. And this is where your 4-digit code will appear, and that's how you verify it. Nice, simple, neat trick. It just works. It's been working for the past 3 years for me. So next up, we have customer support, and every day, me and my girlfriend, we just reply to customers. We use Trello to save common replies to our customers, and you just copy and paste the replies to your customers, tweak it a bit, and job done. However, if the customer's emails are more complex, what we do is ask ChatGPT to respond to it, and then we just touch it up a bit. Very simple and very easy. Now, how do we actually deal with returns and refunds? Because a lot of people ask this, and if you're with AliExpress, it really depends on two things. Is it the fault of your suppliers or the fault of your customers? If it's the fault of your suppliers, then you can simply open a dispute on AliExpress for a return and refund. For example, if your supplier sent damaged products, or they sent the wrong size, or their product arrived damaged because the parcel was damaged. These are all faults of the supplier and the logistics, and so it's very easy to get a return label for your customers. It should be completely free, and a refund on your order. However, if it's the fault of your customers, then it becomes more difficult to resolve, as you shouldn't give them a free return label. Free return labels are at the cost of your suppliers if you do open a dispute on AliExpress, and they don't like it if you open a dispute because it's not your supplier's fault. It was your customer's fault. And sometimes your suppliers will actually ban you from ordering from their store. So it's best not to do that when it's the fault of your customers. For example, if your customers purchased the wrong size hoodie, like if they wear extra large and they bought a medium, that's on your customers, and they'll need to either send it back to you or send it back to your suppliers. Now, what you need to do is ask for your supplier's return address, and then you'll give it to your customers. Now, if your suppliers don't give you the return address, then you'll give your own address to your customers for them to return back to you. But Once your customers figure out how expensive it is to return the product to you, then usually they don't want to return the product. And so I have two videos here, is your roles and also how to handle returns and refunds in a more detailed video. Next up, we have finances, because not a lot of dropshipping gurus talk about this, but I like to talk about finances because I studied accounting and it's just in my blood to talk about numbers. So I use Google Sheets to track my finances, and I'm on this sheet every day. I use it to track profit and loss daily. I use it to track my sales. I use it to track how much COGS are, etc. And this sheet just helps consolidate all your finances on your business into one place so you could track it and understand if you're in a profit or loss. And I have 4 videos here: how to track your finances, how to export your AliExpress orders for your accountant, the real cost of starting dropshipping, taxes for UK limited dropshipping company, so you can learn more about that. And I also have 2 helpful resources on my website. And this macro is only compatible with Windows and Excel and not for Mac users. Sorry about that. But basically, when you export your Shopify orders and you put it onto the sheet here, it's gonna take a while for you to put in the right details. Whereas if you use my macro, it'll literally do that job for you, where it'll extract the right data and you just copy that data onto your Google Sheets. So yeah, for me, I feel like it's worth getting both of them because one, it'll save you time from exporting the orders and trying to extract the right data for the columns. And the finance template is already built out for you. You just need to input your data. And that there, guys, is my complete dropshipping blueprint. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this video. And honestly, like, this is the A to Z dropshipping blueprint that you need. If you need more details in each section, I put the videos there. You just need to watch them. And you can learn everything about dropshipping on my channel for free. Like, I don't have paid courses. I don't have paid groups. I don't bullshit. I don't gatekeep. You can find all of this information on my channel. Also, there's one thing, I'm only affiliated with apps that I think are useful to you. There's a lot of times where companies reach out to me and they're like, oh, do you want to be affiliated for me? And no, I don't want to be affiliated with you because I don't think it's a good app for you guys to use. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did find it valuable, please leave a comment, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for more content, and peace.